Welcome to the PowerPoint presentation, Class 8, Subject English. The Best Christmas Present in the World. Author is Michael Morpurgo, made by Anne-Marie Singh, Army Public School, Ranikhet. Introduction of the story. The story Best Christmas Present in the World has beautifully depicted the moral lesson. It conveys that war and fight only bring sadness and humiliation all around the world. One should generally follow the path of peace for attaining happiness in the world. This would be the best Christmas present in the world. Objective of the story. There are some dates or periods of time in the history of the world that are so significant that everyone knows and remembers them. Echoes of Christmas 1940 in the trenches came to the present day when a letter found by chance in an antique desk bring one soldier experience hauntingly to life. It is a story based on the World War I. It highlights the peaceful celebration of Christmas between enemy armies. It also describes affection of the wife towards her husband who is out for war. Heartwarming and spine tingling. This is a perfect story to cull up with on a winter night. Character sketch. Jim Macpherson was the captain of his regiment during the World War I in 1914. The war was fought between Germany and Britain. He was a young and ambitious man with attitudes towards his job. Earlier, he was a school teacher from Dorset in England. He had a loving wife, Connie Macpherson, although his demise took place as he never returned from the war and didn't write any more letters to Connie. Connie Macpherson. She is a mentally stressed wife suffering from the pain of separation. She is living in a false hope because her husband is not coming back from war. She loves her husband too much and waits for his return. She suffers from burn when a fire breaks in her house, causing severe injuries. Hans Wolf was the captain of German troop. He was from Dusseldorf. Before joining army, he played cello in an orchestra. He was friendly and loved football. He believed that sports were a good way to resolve conflicts. Summary of the chapter. The roll top. The author found a roll top disc in a junk shop. He thought that he could restore it. So he bought it and began to work on it on Christmas Eve. The letter he pulled out the drawers. He found that these had been badly damaged by fire and water. The last door stuck fast. When it opened, it revealed a secret space. In it, he found a small tin box. Over it, he found a notice which read Jim's last letter. There was a letter inside, addressed 12 Copper Beaches, Bridport. The date was given December 26, 1914. Jim and Connie. The author read the letter. The owner of the disc might have put it in. The letter had been written by a captain of the English army, Jim Macpherson. He had written it to his wife, Connie. A wonderful incident had happened on the battlefield on the Christmas Eve. Jim Macpherson had narrated it in his letter. Explanation of the chapter. The narrator went to a junk shop in Bridport looking for a roll top disc. The junk seller informed him that the desk he picked up was made of oak. The narrator found it cheaper than the others he had seen. Although the desk was not in proper shape, yet he bought it and started working on it. He took out the damaged cover. He observed that water and fire took a toll. He opened the drawers easily, but for the last one, he had to apply force. He took out a tin box with a note on it, with instruction to bury the letter with her. Out of curiosity, he read the letters that mentioned the address of the Lady Macpherson. It was written in pencil. He read the letter. Her husband was happily narrating an incident. It was Christmas morning, and they were standing in their trenches. He observed a white flag waving from the side of German soldiers. They call out, "Happy Christmas!" loudly. Soldiers from his side also wished them back cheerfully. However, the air of confusion was offering them to share schnapps and sausage. About 12 soldiers started coming towards them in no man's land. Initially, the narrator was apprehensive, yet he made no efforts to stop them. He was rather happy that they were celebrating happiness with his enemy soldiers. He further added that he liked the way the German officer came towards him and introduced him. He wished him Happy Christmas and told him that he should play the cello in the orchestra. Mr. Macpherson greeted him and replied that he was a school teacher from Dorset. He shared rum and sausage. He spoke almost perfect English. He was surprised to see Dusseldorf speaking good English and knew about Dorset, where he never went. The source of his information was from reading English books. They discussed Bathsheba, Gabriel, Oak, Sergeant, Troy, and Dorset. His family includes his wife and one son. The letter read as the narrator had the best time with the enemy celebrating. Next, the fun element was a game of football. They made goalposts by pitting greatcoats. Hans Wolff and Jim Macpherson wanted to resolve the differences and would not harm their families. Macpherson was sure of winning a game of cricket. The game was won by Germans to his surprise. Hans Wolff admitted that their goal was wider than theirs. Soldiers of both the sides bade goodbye to each other and felt that the night was a memorable one. They exchanged carols, Silent Night from German side and While Shepherds Watched from England's side. Jim concluded the letter by saying that both armies wanted for peace. After reading the letter, the author couldn't sleep and decided to drive to Bredport. He asked a boy the address. When he went there, an old man told him that he knew about Miss Macpherson. Her house was burnt. She used candle instead of electricity, considering it to be cheap. She was in a nursing home named Burlington House. When he entered, he saw a hallway and a lighted Christmas tree kept in a corner with a lopsided angel on top. He asked for Mr. Macpherson while waiting to observe that everyone in the dining room was singing and wearing a paper hat. The matron offered a mince pie and took him along the corridor. She told him that Mrs. Macpherson was not in with the others. She would be happy to have a visitor as she didn't have a family. He saw an old lady sitting in a wheelchair. She folded hands in her lap. Her hair was folded in a wispy bun. The visitor wished Merry Christmas, Connie, and gave. He described her how he discovered that, but she paid no heed to all his conversation. Rather, she was smiling. She came forward with tearful eyes. He mistook him for her husband Jim. She asked him to sit near her and read the letters himself. She wanted to hear his voice. She told him that they would have for Christmas cake and marzipan. Now, here the chapter is given. So, we have already done with the explanation part. Now, it's a request to all the students, please go through the chapter, read all the word meanings and the difficult words. Read the lesson carefully and try to find out the answers. Even comprehension check is given in between the paragraphs. So it's a request to all of you, try to find out, solve those questions by your own. And later on, in our next presentation, we'll discuss about the question answers and other slides. Thank you. I hope you all like my presentation. Have a blessed day ahead.